Hi again, everyone. I'm KCTV5 meteorologist Brett Anthony with another one of our KCTV5 weather experiments for you while we're learning at home. So this is experiment number 3 this week. So far, we've talked about the difference between hot air and cold air, and we looked at the way air pressure works. And today, we're going to kind of do a little bit of both. We're going to talk about some air pressure, then we're going to go back and revisit the warm air versus cold air scenario. Okay, first of all, let's talk about air pressure. And this first little part of this experiment, we filled a glass jar with some blue food coloring and water. It's very important here to have the water come to the very tippy top of that jar, almost as if it's overflowing just a little bit. Then we're going to take a regular piece of cardstock and we are going to put that on top of that jar. And we're going to push down just a little bit. And what we're doing here is we're creating some surface tension between the cardstock and the water on top. And so that's going to try to help to secure the cardstock onto the jar, to the lid of the jar. I am going to attempt to flip this over, and when I do, the air pressure is actually going to hold the cardstock in place. So let's hope this works. All right, let's flip it over quickly. See that? All right. So the air pressure pushing up is greater than the pressure from inside the jar pushing down. Plus we've got a frictional force that's holding that cardstock in place. All right, so now let's move on to our experiment. Here it is. And what I'm going to attempt to do here is pull this cardstock out. When I do, what should happen is this hot water on top should sit there and not move. Watch this. So we are going to attempt to pour both of these out of here. And hopefully, now I have a little glass jar underneath here, and why is that important? Because that is acting in case we have an accidental experiment like the one we're about to have. As you can see here, that we are going to not get this to come off exactly how I wanted it to. All right, so oftentimes in experiments, you have to do a take 2. So here it is. Now, this time we're going to put the warm water on the bottom, okay? Actually, we want to put the cold water on top. We're going to put the cardstock on the cold water on top, and then we're going to flip that over once we get that nice pressure seal here, and then we're going to apply that and stick that onto the red on the bottom. Okay, so see how that's working? Now we'll put that on here. We got to make sure that, oh wait, it's not what I wanted to do. Yes, we want to flip the whole thing. Whoa! All right, take 3. That's why it's important to have this glass jar right here. Here we go again. We've got the hot water set up perfectly on top with some water, just enough that it's going to seal the jar using air pressure. Now I'm going to attempt to flip it over. Look at that. Now we're going to set it down on top of the blue. Remember, what we're doing an example of here is the difference between cold air and hot air. And if this experiment works right, when I take the cardstock out from in between, my son Aaron is helping me out. Aaron, do we have this right? I'm going to come here and make sure it looks like we're a little bit...
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. So we'll take this cardstock out. When we do, the warm air, because it's lighter, should sit on top of the cold air, which is blue, underneath that. Okay.
There we go.
There it is. Okay. So you can see warm air is lighter and it sits on top of that colder, dense air. It's not mixing. If I flip this over, and I can try that, then we'd see these two colors mixing. Think we should try it? Be really tough.
Give it your best shot.
Give it our best shot. We're going to do it quickly. Now look at that. See how it mixes? The cold air is heavier and it mixed down with the warm air. So sometimes in the wintertime you get some real cold air aloft and it'll mix down, or cold air will spill down into an area where warm air is, and it suddenly becomes a colder day. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's experiment number 3. of KCTV 5 weather experiments for you this week as we're all learning from home. We'll have another one on Thursday. Make sure you check back at 9:30 in the morning for KCTV 5 weather experiments number 4 this week.